Join me in the flag salute. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of the public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this Act, the Fair Lawn Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof distributed to the persons on the approved list, posted in the Board of Education Administrative Office, and sent to the Bergen Record and the Community News. The announcement for the regular monthly meeting, along with the date, place, and time thereof, was distributed on April 25th, 2014. The items to be discussed during the closed session of May 15th, 2014 may include personnel matters, student matters, legal matters, negotiations, and/or grievances, tactics and techniques utilized to protect the public safety and property. The results of these discussions will be made public as soon as possible. Can I please have an approval of the minutes for the regular monthly meeting of April 24th, the executive closed session of April 24th, the board retreat of May 3rd, the work session on May 7th, and the executive closed session on May 7th?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to turn the meeting over to Mr. Watson for a special recognition of students and officers.
Thank you, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the public board meeting. A few comments first. Most of us adults have worked more than one job in our lives, and one thing I've realized that a real value in a quality organization is that the organization takes time to celebrate some of the very special things that go on within its organization and its people. Well, schools are no different. We take the time to celebrate. This week is Special Education Week, and this afternoon we had the pleasure of attending a tea to celebrate that with our special education teachers throughout. Administrators came, and it was all sponsored by FLAYS, the parent group that oversees the PTA in the special needs category. So we started this afternoon. Last public board meeting, we were able to celebrate a number of students who, for whatever reason, were selected to attend some national and also statewide workshops over the summer. One student was selected as one of two on the nation to go to a science camp. So we have a lot to be proud of in the Fair Lawn schools. Tonight is no different. Tonight we have some wonderful things to share with everybody. It's a recognition. We're going to start by celebrating and recognizing two students. I'll get into that in a second. But also, something very, very dear to my heart is a number of years ago, this Board of Education approved a pilot program. And that pilot program, sponsored by a federal grant that we were awarded, and local monies matching, we started a program called Teaching Mandarin Chinese. And we had dreams of that becoming, within a short period of time, 4 to 5 years, very successful. Matter of fact, we felt that a third language in this district was necessary with the demands of higher education, and it would also give our students a step up of going into some fine schools. I always felt we could be a leader in many ways, including that, and tonight I believe we are. We have achieved that. And it also rose to the level of having our own chapter in the National Chinese Honor Society here at Fair Lawn. We already had one in Spanish Society, Honor Society, a national one, and we've had one in French, and now we've added one the last few years for Mandarin Chinese. And just a few minutes ago, this board and the central office people and administrators, we were across the hall the very first time. We have now a National Junior Honor Society for Memorial Middle School. We had our first inductees take their pledge tonight, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, focused on the academics. I myself grew up, I am very much a sport lover. I played a lot of ball, as well as probably most everybody in the room, and I love sports. I've coached in town and schools, and I've always been very proud to be at the recognition dinners and giving kids awards, but I've always felt, what are we doing for, the academic challenges and successes in our society? And here in Fairlawn, we know what we're doing. Well, tonight we're going to continue that, and we're going to start off by recognizing two students. Let me just read a paragraph of introduction, and I'm going to ask some administrators to join us. Now, for everybody, the two students, we have two certificates for them for recognition from this Board of Education, and the board president, Cindy Jo Quackenbush, and I will step around front and we'll shake hands and hand them out. And then we're going to recognize, following our presentation by the students in our Chinese program, which I'm so happy they agreed to come tonight with their teacher, Ms. Lee. And they're going to recognize our 25-year employees, 25 years of service. And then after that, we're going to recognize the Governor Teachers Recognition Award winners, the outstanding teacher in each of our schools, that will also follow tonight. So we have a lot of that to start. So it's kind of nice to be celebrating rather than always business. So let me read the opening paragraph. On behalf of the Fairlawn Board of Education, myself, all the administration, Mr. Marcella, Mr. Pankowitz, Mr. Viscardi, who is the subject supervisor, Mrs. McAlealy, English department, Ms. Healy, our art department, and all the administration and teachers at the high school. I would like to officially congratulate two students, and then we'll call them up in a minute, who were recognized, by the way, both of them were recognized in writing with this board at our last month's meeting, but today we're going to recognize them in person, and I think it's a real treat when you hear why we're recognizing them. One of them I met because she interviewed me a number of times, and but when you hear their story, I think you'll all be as proud as I am and everybody else about our students. So, Mr. Marcella, I'm going to ask you to do the introduction to our first student, art student, and we're going to come around the front, the board president tonight. Here, sir.
All right, our first student tonight is Eunice Lee. Eunice, why don't you come up here? And we also have one of our mentors, or our teacher, Melissa Healy, with her. I'm going to read. Melissa has been working with Eunice for, I guess, 4 years now, right? Eunice started out with us in 9th grade in Fine Art 1, Fine Art 2 in 10th grade, Fine Art 3, Honors in 11th. And this year, as a senior, she's taking AP Art History and AP Studio and Art Drawing, 25 credits in high school in art. And this is the award that she's received. This is a national, very prestigious national award. It's called the Scholastic Art and Writing Award. It's given to writers and artists throughout the country, high school artists and writers. And I'm going to read the announcement they asked me to read to you. I am pleased to announce the following student has earned a national medal in the 2014 Scholastic Art and Writing Awards, presented by the Alliance for Young Artists and Writers, and that is Eunice Lee. Her work was selected by creative professionals as the most accomplished in the nation. This year, 255,000 works of art were submitted. Only the top 2,068 were recognized at the national level. Eunice earned a silver medal. That's fantastic. That's second place. The silver medal is second place in the nation. She will attend a ceremony at Carnegie Hall on June 6th and participate in showcase events at the Parsons, the New School of Design in New York City. I'm very proud of Eunice. I'm very proud of what she's accomplished here. She's also earned a very nice scholarship that goes along with this award. and it really is a strong thing. I'm going to let her talk a little bit, Ms. Healy talk a little bit about her and the program. We told her she didn't have to say anything, but I can That wasn't me. Rhode Island School of Design, which is another very difficult art school to attend.
Okay, well, I would just like to say I'm very proud I am of Eunice. And this is one of her silver medal pieces that was on display at Montclair Art Museum. And again, Eunice will be attending Rhode Island School of Design, which is affiliated with Brown University. And it is one of the most prestigious and competitive art and design schools to get into in the country. So she's very proud of herself. She's put hundreds and hundreds of hours into this year to get into WISD. And we are all collectively, as the art department, as the high school, Fairlawn Public, very proud of you. So congratulations.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Marcella has another student. Eunice, congratulations. We wish you all the best. And Ms. Marcella, you want to go to our second senior?
Our second senior that we're going to recognize tonight, I'm going to ask Mr. Compton to talk about her in a minute, is Melissa Moore. Melissa, why don't you come up? Melissa's one of our seniors. She's been in our journalism program. She's actually what's your title now? The executive editor of our school newspaper, which is a fantastic school newspaper. It really is. It's very high quality. She got here 4 years ago as a freshman. She was in journalism classes. She has been in journalism classes for the last 4 years. She really, when you say executive editor, she really truly is an executive editor. She's written some fantastic pieces. As Mr. Watson mentioned before, one of the things I remember her as a freshman, the very first interview she came in, as confident as can be as a freshman. I was really surprised how much poise and the questions that she asked me, that she had the ability to on that level, ask those kinds of questions of a principal that you just met. I thought was fantastic. So, and she's proven over the last 4 years what a wonderful student she is. And she's a fantastic writer, and she's going to go to school and become a journalist. It's a surprise. So it's really a pleasure. This is another one of those things that we're proud of, because we really love to see students find an interest as freshmen and follow through on it, and then use that, take that interest, and then move forward and make a career out of it. And that's where Melissa's headed. I'm sure we're going to read her name on a byline in the New York Times someday, and she'll remember Fairlawn High School every time she writes one, right? So I'm going to let Mr. Compton, this part of an English teacher is really good. He's worked really closely with the journalism department. So here it is.
Thank you, Mr. Marcella. I just want to also introduce Melissa as the only recipient of the 2014 New Jersey High School Journalist of the Year Award. Out of all of the students in the entire state, Melissa won that award. She also was selected for the highly selective and very, very prestigious Student Journalism Award, the Bernard Kilgore Scholarship, for which she is receiving a $5,000 scholarship, and she again was the only recipient of that award this year. So you really have a lot to be proud of. Just some highlights of Melissa's journalism career at Fairlawn High School. In 2012, she received an honorable mention for feature writing from the Garden State Scholastic Press Association in its biggest division, which was a statewide high school journalism competition. And she was also the national youth correspondent at the Washington Journalism and Media Conference, sponsored by the George Mason University in the summer preceding her junior year. In 2013, she received 3 Garden State Scholastic Press Association awards. She received honorable mention for layout and design, honorable mention for feature writing, and second place for news writing, which is quite an accomplishment. In our paper, the Crimson Crier, as a whole, she received second place at that competition for overall excellence at the awards ceremony. Melissa also attended the highly selective S.I. Newhouse Diversity in Journalism Workshop at Syracuse University, sponsored by the Bergen Record last year in 2013. That's also a very, very selective program, so that's something to be proud of as well. And this spring, as I say, Melissa was the only recipient of the New Jersey High School Journalist of the Year and the Bernard Kilgore Scholarship. Melissa is the only member of the Crimson Crier who is participating in our journalism class for all 4 years of her high school career. She advanced from a staff writer in her freshman year to become the features and entertainment editor in her sophomore year. And she became the executive editor as well as the co-design editor in her junior year as she assumed student editorial responsibilities for the paper, and she still holds these positions. Melissa spends countless hours in the journalism lab aside from her work there, fifth period every day. And during deadline week, she can be found in room D26, the journalism room, until at least 6 p.m. She's very serious about journalism, that's for sure, and she plans to study journalism as a major this fall at George Mason University. She's made us all very proud, and thank you for coming tonight, Melissa.
All right, next. Thank you. You have all of our best wishes, both of you young ladies. Wonderful accomplishments. Next, I'm going to ask the new recognized Chinese Honor Society personnel to come on up here and join us. Miss Lee, too. Come on up front. I'd like you to come right up. Forward, right? You want to come up? Sure, come on up. Come on up. A number of years ago, when President George Bush was in the White House, there was a white paper printed, and they urged the schools in America to start looking at languages that are necessary for international exchange, for whether it be security, trade, business, etc. And Chinese was one of them. There was a number of others, Arabic being one as well. And that really got us interested in looking at what can, in a microcosm approach, what can we do in Fair Lawn for this wonderful country of ours in that area? We do some of the other nice things. What about that area? And then we applied for that federal grant to get us started. We had a wonderful subject supervisor at that time who did all the legwork for us. And here we are years later. So, I am going to hand the mic over, and I'm also going to ask our vice principal from the high school, Mr. Matt Kahn, to come up. Mr. Kahn has worked very closely with all of these honor societies and students, Ms. Lee, and I'm going to have him take over, and maybe we pass the mic around and speak. Mr. Kahn?
Thank you, Mr. Watson. Wow. Everybody to be here tonight, right? So, since our inception of the program at the high school in 2009, we had one section of Chinese language, and now for the 2014-15 school year, we have on our schedule sections of Chinese level 2, 3, 4, and AP. So that's quite a growth in this terrific program. And the students have not only been concentrating on the rigorous and enjoyable acquisition of Chinese language skills, but they've also learned a lot about Chinese culture, including Chinese music, Chinese humanitarian subject, music, and other items that deal with the overall scope of this wonderful study. So I'd like to first introduce the Chinese National Language Honor Society president for this year at Fairlawn High School, Blair Donner, who'll give us some highlights about this year's induction of the Chinese National Honor Society. And then we'll hear from Japreet Sethi, who will honor the students and the members here of the Chinese National Honor Society. And then we'll hear from Chrissy Healy, who will recite a poem. So I'd like to turn it over now to Blair.
Hi, everyone here. It's such an honor to represent Chinese National Honor Society tonight. I really can't believe that it's been 4 long years since this club came to Fairlawn High School. To me, this year was incredibly special. Not only did we have a successful Chinese New Year party, but also with the combined efforts of selling bracelets and selling bows for a kite that's displayed in our Student Activity Center, we raised $400 to support a Chinese orphan for an entire year. But the biggest problem that we found this year was that the original founders of this club, since this club is only 3 years old, all of them were going to graduate, which is just me and Japri. So I started thinking, if I had to describe why Chinese language and why this club is so important and so impactful, I started to think about that this year. And then I realized that what makes Chinese so important is the people. When I see a student come diligently once a week to help a kid in their acquisition of learning Chinese characters, I know that this club has made a difference. Or when at the Chinese New Year party, I see 2 students teaching kids, because the elementary school students do pay a visit, teaching kids no older than 11 how to write calligraphy or how to play with diablos, I'm really touched. Or when I see a student diligently sell bracelets, and Ray weighs about $80, of nearly 25% of our profit for the orphan, I know we've done a job well done. Or when I see these kids stay late after school, I couldn't be any more proud. Chinese has definitely taught us all a lot. To study Chinese, you need perseverance. There are 4 tones. Unlike English, there's no alphabet. Each word has its own character. So really, I couldn't be any more proud of these honorable students who have made it into our society. With all this in mind, I'm finally able to answer the question. What makes this club so special? Definitely, it's the people. Our charity projects and New Year party are very important, as well as studying the culture and this beautiful language. Since its engenderment, I have seen this club help people break down all sorts of barriers, and I have seen this club teach people the importance of community over the individual. For me, I trust that this club will teach the kids how to be optimal members of society in the future. I know that this club provides the best environment. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Japrit Sethi, the current Vice President of Fairlawn High School's chapter of the Chinese National Honor Society for the 2013 to 2014 school year. I'd like to start off by thanking our administration and teachers for their promotion and appreciation of the languages, especially for seeing our Chinese program through. Not many high schools would run a class with only 3 students, such as our AP Chinese class, and it makes me so proud that Fairlawn High School did. I am a senior, which means 2 things. 1, I will be graduating this year, and 2, I've been learning Chinese for almost 7 years. The reason I decided to take Chinese back in 6th grade was mainly because my 2 best friends were doing it. They ended up dropping out, but I stayed because I loved it, and that was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my academic career this life. Learning Chinese hasn't been easy. I've seen students struggle, and I've even struggled myself. But the determination that my teachers have instilled in me through their teachings inspired me to learn more vocabulary words, new sentence structures, more Chinese culture, conversational techniques, and more. I can only hope that that thirst to get better will prove fruitful when I take my 3-hour-long AP Chinese exam. Learning Chinese takes a special type of student, a student who is willing to be a bit embarrassed when using the wrong Chinese characters in class, or a student who will put countless hours into their homework, or a student who can visualize their future and their ability to speak Chinese in it. The students in the Chinese National Honor Society and the ones standing before you all have those characteristics. Taking Chinese has changed the way I view the world and has framed the way I look at my future. It has given me a new perspective on our roles in a globalizing community, which actually motivated me to take an AP Comparative Government course this year. I am so excited to continue pursuing Chinese in college with hopes of studying abroad one day. I hope, as a citizen of the world, I will use what I have learned to not only do well on that AP test, but to also inspire others to delve into an unknown academic field that only has goodness to offer. And I'd like to just take a second to recognize the students here. Not everyone could make it tonight, but I'd just like to recognize the new members and the old members and the incoming officers for next year. So we have Blair Donner, our current president, Chrissy Healy, our secretary and future president, Michael Timonier, who has been a great student this year, and he is a new member. He's been a member this year, and he will be secretary next year. Anya Gifts, who's also a new member this year, Mitchell Finkel, Emma Miller, Shane Policano, which are all new members this year, and Maya Sitcher and Ashley Dung, which are old members, but Ashley will be our next year's vice president, and of course our Chinese teacher, Hu Laoshi. Thank you. And now this is Chrissy Healy with a Chinese poem.
大家好，我叫何如花，我是飞龙高中13年级的学生。今天我要给大家朗诵的诗是多莫洛的《天上的街市》。Hello everyone, my name is Christina Healy. I'm currently a junior at Fairlawn High School, and today I'd like to present to you a Chinese poem inspired by a fairy tale. It's called 天上的街市。远远的街灯明了，好像闪着无数的明星。天上的明星现了，好像点着无数的街灯。我想那缥缈的空中，定然有美丽的街市，街市上陈列一些物品。定然有美丽的街市，你看，那浅浅的天河，定然是不甚宽广。我想那个河的牛女，定然过骑着牛儿来往。我想他们此刻，定然上天街闲游。不信。请看那朵流星，那是他们提着灯笼在走。谢谢。
For that recitation, there was actually a poetry contest today, and our friend Ruha, Chrissy Healy, won first place, and Emma Miller also placed at the competition today.
Thank you, Jared. All right, thank you all so much for coming and for honoring us with your presence and for showing us a little bit about all that you do in the wonderful program. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Thank you, Mr. Conley. Thank you, students. Outstanding. Outstanding. Okay, for the next few minutes, we're going to have the honor of, we are an organization like any other. We're going to recognize those members that have given 25 years of their professional focus and career and skill sets to the students and children, and obviously to the community here at large through working in the system. So, the Board of Education is recognizing the following people, and we will have a gift for them to take home. From Thomas Jefferson, well, let me find out, I got to have this, these are engraved, so I have to make sure I have the right one. 25 years. Right? Let's see. You did? Yes, you did. Yes, you did. So the last one I turned over. From Thomas Jefferson, Marsha Burke. you down. Is that even possible? Okay, from Memorial School, Mr. George Locke. Okay, from Middle School, Pamela Schwalski. Very much. Thank you. Let's go to Radford School. And we have Beverly Lang. Warren Point, Kerry Lynn Cahill. Another Warren Point, Linda Safer. And last but not least, Thomas Jefferson, Catherine Knox. Okay, I don't know how it feels to work in one organization for 25 years, but I'm sure that time right now seems like, wow, where did it go, right? 25 years. I have a child that's older than that too, and I say, where did the time go? Okay, we have some recognition for Bergen County Teacher Recognition, Governor Teachers Program, and let me tell you something about this. Each year there is a program, used to be sponsored by the State Department of Education, then they ran into money problems and they turned it over to the districts, and the district had an opportunity to continue the recognition or stop it. Most districts in Bergen County, not all, continue, but we continued recognizing a very special teacher in each building that was selected as the reward recipient. And now the governor's office is back, his name is back on to the plaque. And so it's a combination of fair law recognition, and then we will give them a certificate, and then we're going to go to a very nice luncheon with all the teachers in Bergen County and the administration, and then at that point, I'm sure the governor will also extend a congratulatory note, if either himself or some designee. So it's going to be an exciting time. So what I'm going to do is call on the building principal, or in that case, in special education, I'm going to call on Dr. Joyce Bean. Matter of fact, Dr. Bean, come on up. And we're going to recognize the first recipient is Mr. Jonathan Hesney. Doctor, come on up. I'm going to turn the mic over, and Joyce is going to give us a little background, and you can hear why these people were selected.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Dr. John Hesney, who has been with us 8 years as a psychologist. He has been most of that time at the Edison School. And you probably think, well, I don't know John Hesney. And that's because he works with a very, very specialized population. Where some of you see hundreds of students each day, and I wonder how you do that. John Hesney sees about 16 students, little ones, with very unique problems. He also works as a case manager in the Autism Stepping Stones classes. can't tell you, I can't tell you the stories that I have about the lives that John has touched in the last 8 years. The faculty holds him in the highest esteem. He is a supporter, he's a friend, he's a scholar, and he, very recently, I'll just tell one thing because it's so unusual. John is working with a family where the child has no immune system and cannot come to school. And what a unique situation for a child to be in. 5 years ago, that child wouldn't even be alive. And so we, as a team, we looked at that family and we said, who best to go into that family and help a 4-year-old who has never played with another child because of this rare condition? Who better to go in and help this family reacclimate to a community when the child gets better? And the team said, John Hesney has to lead that team. And he's done, that is only one of hundreds of stories, and I'm honored to work with him. He's a friend and a colleague, and I hold him in the highest esteem.
Thank you, Dr. Dean. Next, for us, I'd like the principal, Mr. Michael Weaver, to come on up. And teacher Jody Barry, and you're going to notice that Mr. Weaver is carrying a bat, and he's going to, I'm sure, tell us about this.
So first, I'm coming from baseball practice, so I apologize for my appearance. The best I could do on the parkway down was change my shoes, put on a dry shirt, everything in the middle, usually imagination, I guess. So I have the good fortune this evening to present Jody Barry as the Forest School Teacher of the Year. Teacher of the Year is an opportunity, I think, for each principal, because we have so many wonderful teachers in our buildings, to tell a story about what makes that person special and what makes that person unique. And as a kindergarten teacher, I can relate to being a kindergarten parent because I am. My daughter's in kindergarten this year. My son was in kindergarten last year. He's currently a first grader. And so when a parent comes in the beginning of a school year and tells you that they have concerns about their child and the transition that their child is going to make, you can appreciate that more because you're living it. And you especially take notice at the tone in their voice. And because if there's pain there, you feel that pain with them. You sense it and you feel it. And we had a family this year come to us, and I had a meeting with that family at the beginning of the year, and that family shared with me some of their concerns about their son's transition into kindergarten. And we spoke. They spoke with Mrs. Barry, and Mrs. Barry had parent-teacher conference at was it last month? In May. And I joined that conference at the tail end. And I sat and asked, how did the year go? And the response was, it couldn't have been better. Mrs. Barry provided the structure and accepted our son for who he was. And because of that, he had great success. And there was no pain in their voice. And so when we think about successes, that was certainly a feather in Mrs. Barry's cap this year. Thank you for that. So now I have this pink bat, and so I was spring cleaning after this winter, and I had a broken pot on my front porch. And the pot was a pink glazed pot, and it was a pink glazed pot that I had received when I was fortunate enough to be recognized as a Teacher of the Year in my school. And I received that pink glazed pot from my principal, who bought the pink glazed pot before she knew she would be presenting it to a male teacher that year. And she told me after the fact, she said, I guess I really didn't give any consideration to the fact that it might have been one of the 3 men in the building and not one of the 50 women. And so when I was cleaning that pink glazed pot, I was thinking to myself, well, I should get something to recognize and honor our teacher at Forest. But I'm not going to get her a pink glazed pot with purple and pink and white flowers and yellow. It's got to be something else, but I didn't know what. And then I was doing a co-observation with Mr. Watson a couple weeks ago, and we walked into my office to debrief, and I have a baseball bat next to my desk that I received from my mentor, my administrative mentor, as a gift. And Bruce picked it up, swinging it, and I'm looking at him swing that and saying, that's it, a bat. And when he gave me that bat, and he said to me, take this bat, because you never know what's going to wander into your office. And so, I figured, let me combine the pink glazed pot with the baseball bat, and I know in my own house, I also have a baseball bat right next to my nightstand, so that when we hear noises at night, I get my wife up out of bed, and I walk behind her with the baseball bat in my hand. And I explained to her, listen, you are like the distraction, the buffer, and then I'll jump in and attack. So with this baseball bat now comes great responsibility to the teacher who possesses it in their classroom. Because should we hear a noise in the boiler room, or have a stray dog outside on the back lawn, like sometimes we do, I will be coming down to your classroom and following you outside. Congratulations.
Okay, you can always count on Mr. Weaver for a story. And next, I'd like to ask Whitcrest Principal Maria Corso to come up, and Jennifer Draper.
I knew I was going to follow him up. I said to him, watch, I'm next. Do I have a story? No. I began to see my age when I realized I don't have a kindergartner. I don't even have a grandson only in kindergarten. I have a grandson in 6th grade. And I don't give bats out, but I will give you a parking spot this next year for Teacher of the Year. So you decide. You decide. We do this every year. We up one. Anyway, Jen Draney. I was so delighted to hear that Jen Draney was getting Teacher of the Year. Jen is the teacher you want for your child. Jen is patient. She's kind. She many times will have youngsters given to her because they have challenges that maybe without Jen's guidance wouldn't make it. And I'll have conversations with Jen, and many, many times she'll say, well, if it were my child, you know, I would want him to have a chance. And I would say 99.9% of the time, the children that we put in her class succeed. And it's because she just gives them that little extra time to really mature. She gives them the flexibility they need to succeed, and she's really been successful for 15 years, 14 years at Lindcrest. She taught 5th grade for a while, and now she's a 1st grade teacher. And we've all been in 1st grade, and if we don't get a great foundation when we start, it's very difficult to proceed through the grades. So Jen, congratulations, well deserved.
Okay, I'd like to ask the principal of Milton School, Mr. Joe Folco, to come on up, and teacher Marsha Newman.
Good evening. It is definitely a pleasure to introduce the Milton's Teacher of the Year. I do have a little bit of some history about Marsha that I'd like to share with you, and then I'll go to the present. Marsha is a graduate of Fairlawn High School. Woo-hoo! She attended Northeastern University in Boston. However, at that time, she met a man that she would fall in love with. She met him at Fairlawn High School, but it carried on. It was a long-distance romance. So they decided to get married, and it was too long. of a distance. So Marcia bit the bullet, and she came back to New Jersey and graduated from Fairleigh Dickinson University. Joe, you're a lucky man. She taught then for 2.5 years in Clifton, and then she took 6 years off to raise her 2 sons. She then taught full-day kindergarten and grades 1, 2, and 3. She started working in Fair Lawn in 1992 and has been an ESL teacher. If anyone knows anything about ESL teachers, they are special people. When you think about a child who comes from another country, not knowing the culture, not knowing how to speak English, and not having any friends, it's a tough, tough world for these children. And Marcia is there, and we've witnessed it just this past week with New Jersey Ask. We had a 4th grade child come in from the Ukraine, not speaking any English, not being able to read, and was told, you have to take the New Jersey Ask test. So Marcia cried herself, and she's been holding this child's hand along the way. And I have to say that it is my pleasure to stand beside Marcia as she stands beside all of her students each and every day. Congratulations.
Okay, we have Radburn, principal, Ms. Jill Lindsay, and teacher Stacy Levin.
I now have to wear glasses. Not something I'm used to. I just want to start by congratulating all the 25-year recipients as well. It's quite an honor that you are here tonight as well. I definitely want to say a special congratulations to Beverly, who treats her every year as if it's her first, and is quite a dedicated educator. So thank you for doing that and providing such great education to our children. So let's start with my beloved Stacy, our teacher of the year, who is amazing. And I'll give you a little bit of background about Stacy. She's been teaching for 22 years. She's very versatile. She's very accomplished. She's taught all grades and all levels in all different capacities. She's a graduate of Adelphi University from Long Island, and she has a master's degree in special ed with a specialization in LETC from William Patterson. She's, again, very versatile. She's married to her husband, Rob, and she has 2 boys, Justin, 11, and Brian, who's 9, both of whom we talk quite often about and share stories with one another. Yes. After she finished school, shall I move? Okay. After she finished her studies, she was hired as an instructional aide. She taught 1st and 2nd grade intervention, but also 3rd and 5th, the 1st and 2nd enrichment, 3rd through 5th intervention. Talk about versatile. And that was all in 1 year. From there, she was hired at Fair Lawn. We were very clever to hire her, and she taught at Lindquist, and she co-taught LBLD at Mills in the same year. And then from there, she went and found her way to Lindquist, where she taught 1st grade for 13 years. And then we were very, very fortunate when she decided she needed to spend more time with her boys to cut her hours and become the literacy intervention teacher at Radburn School. And she has done an absolutely amazing job. She works long hours, well beyond her hours that she's being paid, because she wants every child to be reading. She wants to make sure that she's giving 110%. She's completely dedicated to every child in her care. It's clear that she loves what she does, and it's apparent in her positive results. She's an individual who appreciates that she has a job and that she loves to go to each and every day. And she has expressed how blessed she feels to be a teacher in Fair Lawn. She loves working with amazing children, talented teachers, supportive principals, and caring parents. I asked her about the most special award, and she said, the special award I receive is not an award, it's a reward. It's when my students learn how to read and move up a reading level. My reward is when they finally understand something they were struggling with, and I will not let them give up. The look of joy on their faces is the best reward any reading teacher could ever receive. And that's why Stacy Levin is the Raglan Teacher of the Year. Congratulations.
Okay, next, we'll go to the Warren Point School. Principal, Mr. Peter McGinnis, come on up, and teacher, Jacqueline Crow.
Thank you. Before I start, I'd just like to congratulate the artist and the journalist, who are both Warren Point graduates. Secondly, another note to my daughter, who I should be in Potsdam tonight, picking her up for tomorrow. It has to wait, because this is very important to me. So she's waiting. Anyway, Jackie Crow. Jackie is an outstanding teacher. She is a valued member of the first grade team and her extended Warren Point family. She is committed to increasing students' academic achievement of the Common Core standards and a student-centered environment. Because of her fair and unbiased classroom environment, she creates all the children to develop a feeling of self-worth and a love of learning. She serves on school committees such as the Faculty Planning Committee, which she also presents, and the Cultural Arts Committee. Mrs. Kroll, because we always pronounce it wrong, it's Kroll, is also very involved and concerned with district initiatives. She's an active member of the committee revising science curriculum for the next generation, science standards, under the direction of Ron Purcell, and volunteered to pilot the new teacher evaluation model for the district. Most exciting, Mrs. Kroll and two of her colleagues have recently written a book entitled Engaging Parents as Literacy Partners, which is being published by Scholastic. It is due for release in June. Mrs. Kroll's dedication to her craft, as well as her expertise, is recognized by the editing staff of the well-known and respected Public House. It is my pleasure and my honor to have her on my staff. She does everything and anything. She's always smiling. She's always there when you need her. She asks, what can I do? And she does it. She is truly a pleasure and a wonderful teacher. Congratulations.
Westmoreland School, Principal Crispin Delaglio, and teacher Yvonne Biscotti. Yvonne Biscotti.
Excuse me if I have a coughing attack, so I wrote everything down. Mr. Watson, if I start choking, you have to take over. Next year, we're Academy of Westmoreland, by the way, so we can go first. So we're going to start with Westmoreland School is very proud to recognize Ms. Yvonne Bisaki as the 2014 Teacher of the Year Recognition Award. Ms. Bisaki was hired to work for the District of Fairlawn in 1969. She's been working for Fairlawn for 45 years. So in 5 years, is she going to have a guest? During her senior year at William Paterson University, Yvonne was interviewed by Superintendent Tom Canito. And I call her the historian of Westmoreland School, or Fairlawn Public Schools for that matter, because she can tell you anything and everything about the students and the staff who worked there. So Tom Canito hired her in his office at Bergen Avenue and offered her a contract on that day, the same day that he interviewed her. So it was obvious he could spot talent immediately. So Yvonne moved into room 33 at Westmoreland School in 1969, and guess which room she still teaches in today? Room 33, right? She's worked with 4 principals, and in my estimation, she's taught over 1,125 students who have walked through the doors of Westmoreland School. Yvonne can speak about each student that she's ever taught. She never forgets a name or a face. For example, when we have police officers walking through the building for their daily walkthroughs, she can tell you the sports they played at Westmoreland School, how many siblings they had, their parents' names, if they were ever in the principal's office for detention, and the role that they played in the school play. She remembers everything. She has seen Westmoreland students go on to become micromolecular biologists. She's at Yale now. Olympic competitors, doctors, lawyers, numerous town officers, and parents of present students. Actually, since I've joined the Westmoreland team 3 years ago, I've had 7 parents request a meeting with me and say, I've had Ms. Vaisakhi in 5th grade and I beg you, please, to put my child in her class because they want their children to experience Ms. Vaisakhi as a teacher. Westmoreland School is very fortunate to have a teacher like Ms. Vaisakhi on staff. She maintains the highest of expectations for her students on a daily basis, and she creates a very structured environment where students of all ability levels thrive. Yvonne, your outstanding service to the students of Westmoreland School is appreciated, and you've made the art of teaching 5th grade seem effortless. So thank you for all that you do for the students, and congratulations to you.
Okay, we're going to go to the 2 middle schools, starting with Memorial. Principal, Mr. Scott Helfand, come on up, and teacher Jason Mastrangelo.
First, I'd like to thank the board again for all of your support and moving the meeting here to Memorial tonight so that we can have our National Junior Honor Society meeting. Thank you. We'd also like to congratulate the 25-year teachers, especially Mr. Block, who's been here for 25 years in Memorial, and I'm hoping that he'll be here for another 25 years. It is my pleasure to announce on behalf of Memorial Middle School the Teacher of the Year, Mr. Jason Mastrangelo. Jason has been teaching phys ed in Fairlawn since 1995 and here at Memorial since 2004. Jason is extremely passionate about what he perceives is his life's work. For Jason, it's not about creating athletes in phys ed, but it's really about developing a love of lifelong athletic pursuits in the adolescents that he works with every day. And to these ends, he thrives on innovation. Jason's not into the big fancy machines. He's into the old-time stuff. So, the kids work out with medicine balls and rubber bands. And for those of you who are Rocky fans, I was told one day I never seen anybody chasing a chicken around the hallway. But that's the kind of, he believes in that real, true sense of athletic pursuit, fitness, and helping students to achieve the best that they can at their own levels. Through his inspiration, students now experience an apparatus known as the rail system. It allows students to engage in agility, strength training, and it's something that is unique and I have not seen anywhere else before in my years in education, and the kids love it. And what's special about that piece of apparatus is every student, regardless of their ability levels, from the best athlete right on through our students with autism, use that apparatus. So it's just another way to bring inclusion into our district or into the school. Jason has also introduced things called brain breaks into our school. He was very interested in it. He and I spoke about it. We've had some very lengthy conversations about how we can use those to help students to achieve better. And the rest of the faculty have benefited from his knowledge because he has shared that with them so many times. He's an integral member of the School Improvement Panel that is doing professional development here at Memorial this year. He shares his expertise as a mentor for the first year of physical education teacher at Memorial. Through his collaboration with his colleagues, students have a well-rounded phys ed program that emphasizes lifelong physical fitness. And on another note, I've had the opportunity to play Jason professionally, and then over the summer, Jason and I met up in Yellowstone, of all places, and we spent the night around the campfire, and I had an opportunity to meet with him and his family, and he did a wonderful job as a father and as a husband. So thank you very much.
Middle School, Thomas Jefferson, our principal, Mrs. Sherry Galfauer, could not be with us tonight, but I'm going to ask Dana Faley to come up and join me. And I have a prepared statement from the principal. Well, here we go. I'm going to read this. This is from Sherry. The Thomas Jefferson Middle School community is proud to announce that its Governor's Teacher of the Year is Ms. Dana Faley. Ms. Faley graduated from Seton Hall University. That's right, I went there, I did my master's. With honors with a degree in psychology. She went on to receive her Master's of Arts in Teaching from William Patterson University. Mrs. Faley came to the Fairlawn community as a student teacher for a third grade class at Radburn School, and was then hired as a long-term maternity leave substitute at Memorial Middle School. That's long. She was then hired as a grade 6 English teacher at Memorial Middle School, and now teaches grade 6 English here at Thomas Jefferson Middle School. Mrs. Faley's classes are academically challenging, and her lessons are creative, making learning fun for the students. Ms. Faley serves as the advisor for the Thomas Jefferson Middle School student store, and in her spare time can be found traveling or going to the beach. We're grateful. We are so proud of her today and thank her for her love and passion for the students here at Thomas Jefferson Middle School. Congratulations, Mrs. Faley. Last but not least, high school. Mr. Jim Marcella, principal, and Melissa Healy, teacher, who was up here before.
All right, Melissa is very, what's the word? She doesn't like standing in front of people and speaking. I'll do all the talking, she'll listen. Melissa came to high school 8 years ago. I was close. And I remember Mr. Helfand at the time was the art supervisor. And he said to me, "You're going to love this girl. She is going to do everything for you. You won't believe how good she is." And I'm going to tell him right now tonight, the reason she's standing here is because we brought her to us, and really she has done an unbelievable job, not just as a fine arts teacher, and not just as an art teacher in our district, but as a leader in our school. She has such a kind, caring smiling face, and she worries about everybody. She cares about everybody. She's been for us, she served as a facilitator in the art department, which is someone who really, art departments are very, what's the word I want to use? Creative people, and creative people sometimes have different stresses than everybody else. And she really has been able to help me hold that department together. She is really, without any title, without any real responsibility other than to be a team player, someone who wants to step up, and someone who wants to really see that art department share with its students what it can. In the art department, we have everything from pottery to fine arts to drawing to painting to computerized art classes, graphic design. She's been able to help me keep all that, including ordering and things like that, making sure people know what they need and all those things. In addition to that, I think what Melissa has been able to do, aside from she mentors kids, she works with individual kids. I can tell you there's been more than one time where she's called me about a student that has nothing to do with the art. It has nothing to do with what's going on in the class. It has to do with what's going on inside that student. And she's able to see that student needs help, or that student is reaching out. She's one of the people in the building that students do reach out to, and I think part of that is the creative aspect. When you're in art class with Melissa, she allows you to be free. She allows you to do what you can do with your talent or lack of talent, and that brings out a lot of emotion in kids. And I think that's one of the reasons she is our teacher of the year. It's not just about the art. It's not just about the skills and abilities she teaches them. It's really about what she does for each individual kid. I think it's so appropriate that tonight, it just happened to be that Eunice earned this award, and we happen to be tonight presenting that award to her. And I think the best example of what she's able to do, I'm sure Eunice would share, I think Eunice had to leave, but Eunice would share with you that if it weren't for Miss Healy, that wouldn't be there. She wouldn't have earned that scholarship and that national award. So it's really a credit to Melissa, and we really appreciate it. And she really shouldn't be here tonight because she hasn't been well the last couple of days, and she made it out here because she wanted to be here for Eunice. I don't think she even knew this was happening, right? But she wanted to be here for Eunice. So I thank her on behalf of all the students of Fairlawn High School, and really, we're very proud of her. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Congratulations. Absolutely. We have a request to take a mic.
On behalf of the Board of Education, I just want to say what an honor it was to stand up here and give you those awards. But before you all break and leave, we have some awards that we would like you to hear about recognition from board members. We recently went to the New Jersey School Board's meeting, and Fairlawn was blessed and honored to receive 3 awards. We have a certified boardsman, Mr. Michael Rosenberg. We have a master boardsman, Mr. Gene Banta. And we're very proud of the fact that Mr. John Mancinelli received the prestigious RGK Award.
Okay, I know this is a long evening. Thank you for your attention. We have some comments I want to share quickly, and when we get into the agenda. And at that point, obviously, people can stay and join us for the business part of the meeting, or if you feel like you need to leave, that's fine, perfectly acceptable. So thank you very much for being here. I'd like to point out that one of our teachers in Memorial School, Ashley Woolsey, has been selected for the New Jersey Teacher Advisory Panel. Now, this group of outstanding teachers that have been selected will serve as an advisory group to the New Jersey Department of Education in its implementation of new initiatives coming out of the department. This gives Fairlawn a voice on that panel through Ashley, so we congratulate her, and certainly we'll be giving her a lot of things to think about to take to the meetings. Also, another wonderful recognition, we have Bergen County organizations for a number of professionals. One of the Bergen County organizations is for the Bergen County School Counselors Association. And this year, that association has recognized as the Outstanding Counselor of the Year our own high school counselor, Mr. Ken DeBlock. So we have that. Ken is going to be honored at a dinner at the Clinton Inn by the association, and a few of the people here will go with them and join in the celebration. Just a little while ago in the newspaper, you might have seen this in the Bergen Record, one of our students, Ryan Healy, was chosen as Athlete of the Week in the April 29th edition, so we congratulate Ryan. Also, congratulations to Mr. John Gerisi, all the students, all the faculty members, and the whole company on the this past musical Cabaret. Besides winning Paper Mill Theater nominations, by the way, would be recognized in 3 tri-state area organizations, New Jersey, the Paper Mill, Bucks County in Pennsylvania, and I'm going to share with you that in the Metro Awards, which is a tri-state, New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut, our Cabaret has been awarded 15 nominations. 15 nominations. Now, for the board members, there's an addendum that we just got. We were just told about this. We have to perform because we won so many nominations in New York, and because we go over state lines, they need your approval. So I put it on as an addendum, so I'm explaining that for the board members. Okay. We also have another great thing that goes on in this community. We have a very fine relationship. Used to be St. Barnabas Health, now it's Barnabas Health. And with that organization, we very quietly, we have a contract where Barnabas Health works with families that are considered at risk in town for a number of reasons. And they work with the families all year. This is something this Board of Ed supports, and we really don't publicize that because it's very personal and private, but there's not many communities in the organization of Bergen County or the state that does that. Matter of fact, let me just get to my notes on that. I believe we were recently, Assistant Superintendent Natalie and I met with Barnabas Health just recently. They have partnered up with Rutgers for a new grant. And although it's not officially done yet, it is very close to being done. And Rutgers and Barnabas picked 3 school districts in the whole state of New Jersey to work with on this grant for students, at-risk students. And we were one of the 3 chosen, Fairlawn. And they will be coming to talk to the administration about the program at the month end, and we'll be presenting that to the board. But I'm very excited being again selected one of 3 districts in the state of New Jersey. This summer, Barnabas is going to sponsor a summer camp called Project Talk, and there will be students invited who are 5th graders who have been identified making the transition into middle school, and they will be working over the summer with Barnabas to prepare them for their middle school experience. So that is taking place, and that is another grant that we have been able to arrange for the district. And I think that's all my public comments. I have some comments in closed session for the board, which are personnel private, and I will pass the mic back to the board president. Thank you very much for your attention, everybody.
Before we go on to the superintendent's report, I just wanted to, if anybody has any comments from the board before we move to the report. Jeff?
I just want to let the board know here. Our C-word today,
That's the bill for the lake.
That is the bill for the lake, so I thought you just supported that. I thought it was
Jim just received a text that our boys volleyball team just beat Don Bosco and won the counties this evening. Congratulations for the volleyball team.
I wanted to say that I would appreciate Tracy taking this opportunity to put something in her marketplace tonight, mentioning that on the Maryland Board of Education's website, there is a way to listen to this meeting. So perhaps those that are not here will be able to see all the wonderful accomplishments that our students achieve, as well as all the awards that are given out in recognition of our fine teachers. So we need to make the public more aware of that. Thank you.
Last month we didn't have, we have to cancel the shared services committee meeting with the town, but things are still going on with shared services. A lot of projects that we have started have been moving forward. One thing that has moved forward for the board is the extra spaces, parking spaces that we have. Edison is in the works, and Mrs. Wilson and Jim Van Koonigan, the borough manager, are working together to get that accomplished, to have that accomplished. The energy audit has been moving forward to look at if solar is feasible with the town. So we are still, and we share services every day with the borough, and the rest of them move forward in the next meeting of that in
Okay, there's no more board comments. I'm going to start with the superintendent's report. Number one, attendance at conferences, convention, workshop. Two, approval of 2014 extended school year program, staff and payroll for the following days that are noted in the agenda. Three, approval of required related services for classified students for the 2013-14 school year. 4, approval of bedside home instruction. 5, approval of services agreement to non-public schools. 6, approval of schedule of rates for hourly employees substitutes 2014-2015 school year. 7, authorization to enter into contract with Source Board teachers 2014-2015 school year. 8, resignation of Secretary of Personnel 2014-15 school year. 9, resignation of non-certificated personnel. 10, approval of leave of absence without pay, certificated personnel. 11, approval of leave of absence without pay, non-certificated personnel. 12, approval of appointment of certificated personnel 2014-15 school year. 13, approval of certificated day-to-day substitutes and bedside home instruction personnel. 14, approval of non-certificated day-to-day substitutes. 15, approval of school teachers, interns, practicum, field observation placement. 16, approval of extracurricular trips. 17, approval of St. Barnabas Institute for Prevention Summer Program 2014. 18, bedside home approval of school bus emergency graduation drills. 24, project graduation for 2019. And the addendum that we all have, approval of extracurricular training. I have a motion to approve items 1 through 24.
So moved. Second.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public on 1 through 24 in the addendum? Seeing none, roll call, please. Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Mrs. Franco? Mr. Stein?
Yes.
Mr. Mancinelli?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Stendel?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes.
Mrs. Barnhart? Yes. Joy, have you any comments before the, no, I just wanted to, sure it goes to, I did send home the second, update yesterday explaining, the added item to the consent agenda, which was the, replacement of the transportation supervisor. The business administrator's, agenda is long, so I'm going to split it, we will work through 25. Comment vote. Item 1, school use. 2, acceptance of gifts. 3, discards. 4, bills payable, payroll. 5, bills payable. 6, transfers April 2014. 7, board secretary report April 2014. 8, board treasurer's report April 2014. 9, April 2014-15. District tax payment schedule. 10, approval appointment of board secretary. 11, appointment of custodian and records officer, or OPA. 12, appointment of affirmative action officer. 13, appointment of integrated pest management coordinator. And 14, appointment of right to know officer. 15, appointment of clinical hygiene officer. 16, appointment of vital reward officer. 17, professional appointments. Naming of official local newspapers. 19, authorization to disperse funds for Social Security, health, and dental benefits. 20, readoption of policy and regulation manual. 21, readoption of curriculum and textbooks. 22, approval of standard operating procedure manual. 23, payroll authorization. 24, naming of depositories of Board of Education funds. And 25, membership in the New Jersey School Boards Association, Bergen County School Boards Association. We have a motion to approve items 1 through 25.
So moved. Second.
Comments from the board? Mary?
On 2 items. First, item 2. These are wonderful gifts that we are receiving. Gifts for materials and stepping stones and 40 wireless tablets. So this is we're very pleased and can say thank you to these people. And also on item 25, I do remember a time when, we questioned our membership in New Jersey School Boards Association and just what we were getting for the money. But I really am so pleased that we are getting so much, that we have had all the board retreats, that we have had, already this year we've clocked, I believe, almost over 10 hours of in-service provided to us through school boards, as well as the dinner workshops and the honors that finally, kudos to John, who finally got the award he deserved.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say that those 2 items needed a little comment, that's all. Mike?
I just wanted to agree with Mary, because I was one of the first people that questioned our membership in New Jersey School Board Association. And I personally, in the past couple of years, and certainly when I was president, used school boards a lot. And they actually, it's a wonderful organization now that really keeps us up to date on everything that's happening within the state, and gives us many, many, many training opportunities that just makes us better to work.
call with you. Thank you, Mary. Anyone else? We're going to go to 20, roll call, sorry. Oh, comments from the public on items 1 through 25. Seeing none, roll call. Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Mrs. Franco? Aye. Mr. Klein?
Aye.
Ms. Nelly?
Aye.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Aye.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace? Yes. Okay, moving on, 26 through 55. 26, appointment of representative requesting federal and state funds. 27, designation of claims auditor, remaining authority amended 18A 19-1, 2, and 4. 28, chart of accounts. 29, approval of officer for bidding and purchasing. 30, approval of Centra Medical Centers. 31, approval to appoint public agency compliance officer. 32, maximum travel expenditures. 33, maximum professional expenditures. 34, educational data services. 35, approval to submit the 2014-2015 application for corner-room facilities for early intervention pre-kindergarten and kindergarten classes. 36, approval to submit the 2014-15 application for corner-room facilities for preschool program. 37, approval of ASAP Messenger Services. 38, state contract vendors. 39, interest petty cash funds authorization. 40, approval of district curricular 5-year plan, 2011 through 2016. 41, approval of district job descriptions 2014. 42, resolution to approve special education Medicaid initiative. 43, approval of Chartwell's contract and venue for the 2014-15 school year. 44, approval to accept funds from the New Jersey Department of Education. 45, reimbursement to superintendent for portion tuition. 46, approval to cancel student activity account outstanding checks. 47, Fair One Junior Days Academy. 48, interlocal services agreement, Fair One Board of Education and the Borough of Fair One. 49, approval to participate in the New Jersey State Interscholastic Athletic Association. 50, usage of the Royal Pool. 51, approval of addendum to Aramont Management Services for custodial and management services for 2014-15. 52, approval of school support solutions, proposal for ongoing contract non-renewal facility services. 53, approval of energy for America Incorporated. 54, approval to accept bid for Sasser Field track reconstruction at the high school. 55, land proposal for addition to the Westmoreland organization. May I have a motion to move 26 through 55?
So moved. Second.
Comments from the board? Jeff?
More of a question. Mr. Watson, number 54, back to the track. We've heard all this other information about the capital requirements of our district. I'm asking you just for some assurance that we really need to spend this money on our track. Because, again, seeing all the other things that need to be done that are academic or physical in nature, it's not that I don't want to spend money on track or athletics. It's not that I'm saying I'm going to vote no on this. But I just need a little reassurance from you saying that we have to do this, that this is absolutely necessary, because it is an enormous amount of money, and it's, again, please don't get the wrong impression that I'm belittling track or any other sport or athletics. It's not what I'm doing here, so I want that to be clear. But it's a lot of money, and we have a lot of other needs that are now and in the future, not to mention the other things we learned at our workshop the other night, and I think you get my point. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let me do my best to answer that. Okay. First of all, a part of, can I assure you we're spending this money in the right area? I can assure you that we have budgeted and we have the money allocated to spend in this area. That I can assure you. On the other point is, do I think that it is necessary that we do this upgrade? Without a doubt, I mean, it's necessary to do that complete. The track, we've gotten more years out of its expected life than we want by our upkeep and maintenance of it. It's not only used for competition with our track team, etc., but it's also used for gym classes. So once children, or I should say young adults in high school, get an opportunity to work out on the track and do various running situations between 220 or 200 or whatever. 220 is what I saw there, and that's a little to it. But also it's a community piece that the taxpayers get an awful lot, and sometimes they don't understand what they get for their taxes in education. And when you sit down and start isolating, the money people give, we always say nobody wants to pay a piece of that. When you look at what the return is that public schools do or give to the community, it's a lot. And we all benefit by it, whether we have children in school or not. The track is something that's not only necessary for us to continue instruction, otherwise we can't do it, right? It's still becoming dangerous. But it's also something that this community enjoys, a lot of people enjoy. So with those things I can certainly speak. The certainty of spending the money on the track, we presented that case is clearly up to the vote of the board. I believe it's the right thing to do, we're positioned to do it. Maybe in 2 years we won't be positioned. The concern, I understand, maybe we won't be positioned in 2 years. But now we do have the set.
May I follow up? So, in my hearing that you said the word dangerous, is this in fact then a safety hazard for our young men and women to be on this track?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Plays into safety.
I just want to say about the track, and I've said this about a lot of things that we've done. Back when we replaced the chairs in the auditorium at the high school, which were far past their useful life and were getting dangerous. And we had some criticism by people because we could have used the money on something, an educational program, which I feel that is an educational program. The one thing we can't do as a board, in my opinion, is let things go. Let maintenance items go. Let plans for replacing stuff that needs to be replaced on a regular basis go. Because once you do that, you never catch up in the money and it gets unsafe. This track, how many times, Bruce, has this track been resurfaced? Okay, so it can only be resurfaced. It can't be resurfaced again, which is the only reason, which is the reason we have to rebuild it. Can we have other things that we spend money on? Yes. If you go out by that track at any given time during this season, besides our high school students using it, all sports uses it, for their track team, we have meets here. We can't let that go.
Do we get a fee from all sports?
So it's part of our shared services. We share fields with them all the time, so I don't believe that you get a fee from them. A couple of years ago, just to give you a quick, since you asked the question, we used to go back and forth with the town, spending a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there, back and forth with the town. One of the things I tried to do when I first chaired the Shared Services Committee was to streamline that, because there's costs involved with even generating the paperwork back and forth. And it's all coming from the taxpayers of Fairlawn using the facilities. So the board at the time supported it, that we weren't going to go back and forth. One big example was the cost for our camps for Hughes Memorial Pool. So we got that taken. taken off, so we've gained a lot.
You say Wells Fargo's a private organization, though, not one that belongs to the town?
It belongs to, it's semi-private. It falls under the rec department and the
We
rec.
don't really know. I just wonder how we know how much money is being going back and forth, but we don't know anything about those sports clubs. Being that they're closed.
We don't have to look at all sports books, I don't think.
No, it's on our rec department.
And a couple people.
I just wanted to clarify, there are some events that they do, they are building for subscriber event is traveling. It's on a Sunday, they have a nutrition there for, to man the, bus box and all the, school board and all that stuff. So, and anyone that works that day, they're building for that. Correct.
That's what I was going to say. There's wrestling tournaments that are going at the high school or throughout the year, and all sports pay, or the wrestling pays for custodial services, so it's not like you're getting the building use, but they don't get the room use. They pay anyway custodial. Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to ask that. These are building there. Just wanted to ask about the menu. On page.
On another note.
You know, it says Main Street, I don't know if that was the hour or who put it there. But it also says, okay. But, it says like small food. You're not charging $2 for that, is that what it's salad? Because it's just not clear, and this is the only menu now. You know, and sometimes you get that more comprehensive menu, but it's just, I mean, I just thought, you know, obviously when it says chicken finger, $3, and the rest of chicken finger, you know what I mean? I'm sure they're not selling the chicken finger for $3. You know, I see chicken nuggets. Oh, thank you. That's what I'm saying, I wasn't sure, but for instance, like small fruit, or I used to have like the apples out, that is still.
All about pain. All about pain.
Is that how they say it with an eye? I don't know. I know what you mean. Yeah. It's with an eye bread. If it's not the AL, you have it done. So, but I was just wondering, because like when it says small fruit, they're not talking, you know, like at the end of the line, that have the apples on it. I believe it's like we're talking about a salad. Okay, I just wanted to make sure of that. Because they have. They have elements here. I'm just wondering if they accept the area.
Just a point of information on the interlocal agreement before it's signed, we should insert the cost per page for photocopying that we're charging. Right now it says XX, that's what we're
Number 7.
48.
Any other comments from the board? Public on 26 to 55? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Banda?
Yes.
Mrs. Frankel? Yes. Mr. Klein?
Yes, on all state on the store.
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Sindel?
Yes, stay on 54 as well.
Mrs. Wallace? Yes, abstain on 71. Ms. Crawford?
Yes. So we're going to open up the meeting for public comment and comments. Anybody that wants to say, just have to state your name for the record. No public comment, seeing none, let's move on to old business. Does anyone have any old business? Okay, Jean.
As you all know, it's June 8th is the street fair. Pretty much set. Jeff has a tent, he's getting the banners, board, sign-up sheet, which started to get tossed around last week, and we didn't have it. So after the meeting, we're going to go around everybody, and we have to roll on for some time. Cindy's going to be the whole day. We're going to be the whole day.
I can amend one thing on that. The breakdown of it all, I can't do because my daughter has a.
Oh, so you can't be there for the final.
I can't be there for the final part because I think he's going on right before 4 o'clock.
Okay.
So if I can leave around like 8:30, that'd be awesome.
Okay, we'll fill it in. That's all right. No, can't. That's all I have.
Any other old business? New business, I guess, new business, meetings. Does anybody need any, so why can't we just we cannot schedule a work session at this time, it's not on the building, that we have to work. Okay.
John, you could check up on for a work session for next week with Senator Gordon. I thought you would because there's another executive federal that night that will come in.
Yes, I was going to announce it, the 5/22 meeting with the legislative slate was canceled, and we're waiting to get rescheduled. Community relations is at 7.
Community relations is first.
So we're going to stay with that.
Yes.
Okay. June 3rd, we have custodial negotiations at 7 o'clock. And May 27th at 4 p.m. is the free dialogue.
If anyone's willing to carpool on the 27th, by the way. That's what they're talking about now.
It doesn't matter.
Take this to water.
3 dinners at 26. 3 dinners at 26.
Are we in recess?
She can't do 26 of the month.
I have
29 off.
Okay, 29.
29.
Okay.
No, sing.
You're saying that?
I'm just gonna sing.
Okay, so Kim will leave it off. So I can announce for 27? Yeah, you said it's got on. But we have to respond. Okay, 27 to 4 o'clock, where? At the boiler. At 4 p.m.
Join your meeting is technology.
Mr. Watson?
Yes, sir. We're working on the, no? We do want early on next year to talk about where we are with park and that stuff. Okay, I'm not, I wasn't telling you.
The tent is a feed, it's a little bit windy. We're going to require everyone, maybe the high school committee has those like sandbag field plates, something at the bottom of it. Okay, we small, we don't need like sandbags, we need something that.
You see now.
We don't come back, you don't talk, we need to see something just secure the park.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask for a motion to recess and have
Second. Aye.
We're going to recess for 10 minutes. Reconvene in closed session.
Actually, for considering everything that we did, it's what I meant.
That was like, I thought I'm here for like 30 minutes. I'm ready to go. I think it's safe.
Okay, Joe, so I showed up for deep dialogue. Wait.
Oh, now it's recording.